Hey guys, welcome back to the Straightened Out Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, a mob wife. I know you know her, and you probably love her. Of course, she's gorgeous. Miss Natalie Guercio.
Woo woo!
Hey.
See that?
How are you?
Natalie. Hey girl.
That's the reason why I let her do the introduction. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Long time no see in person.
Very much so. Yep.
Just want
Long
everyone to
time.
know you are our first Zoom in.
Yeah.
And so if
perfect.
our set looks like shit or we don't know where we're looking or whatever, just please understand. We're getting used to
Bear
it.
with us. It's a little chaotic over here.
It's all right.
So I want to introduce you to Antonia. She's a good friend of mine. We have been working together on this podcast, but aside from that, we hang out, we chill, and we have lots of fun together. And this is Rob. He is a pop culture impresario.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck even is that word?
I'm an expert on everything
Thank
mob
you.
wives,
That's what that means.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I'm sitting on this couch.
In
Nice to
layman's
meet you
terms.
guys. Hopefully we can meet in person one day.
Yeah, for real.
For
So
sure.
Natalie, where did you relocate to?
I'll put my other earpod in. I'm in Miami now.
Look at you living
We
the
love
life.
to see it. I was just in Miami for
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend. It was so fun.
They
Yeah,
go all
it's a
the
lot of
time,
fun out
so
here.
you guys can meet in person whenever. And then next
Oh,
time
yeah,
we
for
come
sure.
down, we'll shoot in person too.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
would be so fun.
Yeah.
How do you like life in Florida?
It's good. It's every day. It's hard though because it feels like you're on a holiday every day. So you don't
Yeah.
know. You forget birthdays. You forget holidays. It's a lot, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. The weather's nice. Winter's the best though. Summer sucks, but winter's good.
Yeah, I was there. I go all the time. My dad lives in Delray. So like when I go down
Okay.
for the holidays and stuff, like during Christmas, it's like I'm chilling on Atlantic Avenue having drinks like outside in December. It's like
Yeah,
the
no,
best feeling in the world.
Delray is really nice.
It's so fun.
It's an hour. That's like an hour away. Not far.
Yeah. I love it there.
How is Nunzio? Let's start there.
Oh, he's good. He's here with me. He has his own apartment.
Oh.
He's still, he's 20. He'll be 21 in March. He's still trying to figure out shit. I'm letting him, explore, see what he wants to do, and
Of
you
course,
know, he's
21's a
got-
baby. But when you said he has his own apartment, I'm remembering Nunzio like 13 years old. And I'm like, no, he doesn't
know.
have his own apartment.
Cute. I still look at him like he's a baby. Every time he comes in, I'm like, hey, babe. He just looks at me like,
And he's going to be a baby till he's 30. I hate to break it to you.
no. He's always my babe. He's doing really good, though. He's doing really good. He adapted. He didn't adapt too well at first because I moved like 5 months into the pandemic. And he just got a new girlfriend, and he was starting to really like settle in. And I told him once I heard that schools were done, I was like, he was visiting my stepmother. I called him up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yeah, we're moving to Florida. We're leaving next week. He hated me for like 3 years. He just got over it.
Yo, that's crazy.
He's good.
So
How are you guys doing though? I haven't seen you in so long. Like, what's new?
Nothing, just doing this podcast, So what happened was with all the Mob Wives aesthetic, which you were part of, we did an interview together, I think. And everyone still wants Mob Wives,
Yeah.
Wives. And so you know the deal. Who hates this one? Who hates that one? They don't want to do the show together. This one doesn't want to do this. So I said, you know what? While it's still getting a second life on VH1 and Paramount Plus right now, let's do the podcast and give the fans something at least to satisfy their quest for the new content. So this is what we're doing now.
Sure.
This seems to be right now the desire for the masses still.
Yeah.
So here we are. And Rob, actually, who is a super fan, like he said, wanted to do this because they are both very much in the podcast world. I really don't know much about it, to be quite honest with you. I'm just doing this because they convinced me that this was the move. So,
Yeah.
like, all right. They're younger, obviously. So, all right, let's make this move. And here we are. And so Rob literally knows everything about pop culture. And so does she, and Mob Wives and all that. So.
Okay, so it was great. Bye. I'm kidding.
So Natalie, let's get right into it. I want to know what made you decide to join Mob Wives season 4, And this also will be a question for Jennifer, which you guys can answer in pieces. Jennifer, how the hell did you find her in Philadelphia? You brought her into Staten Island. I need to know it all. What sold you on joining? Because as we know, it is very difficult to just put your life out there, and especially to join something called Mob Wives that was established.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Well, originally, we were supposed to, I had another, we were shooting a reel for something else. And during that time I was shooting a reel with people from South Philly. I had heard that, that Jen wanted me for Mob Wives. And I'm like, what do you mean? And it was from my ex-boyfriend, actually came to me and was like, hey, a person, and that person knows Jen, and they're looking for new cast for Mob Wives. I told them that you're great for it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but I'm not a mob wife. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not married to the mob. He's like, nah, you got the funeral home, it would be great. So there was a time where I had to come with a decision where it was the new show, which had nothing going on. It was just a reel, or do the Mob Wives. And London had a part of that. He was like, do that. It's already established. You get right into it. And I was like, all right. And we went, where did we go? We went for dinner that night, right?
Yeah. We met in Atlantic City, I think.
Yeah, with a bunch of girls. We all went to dinner. And I think it was more so like that dinner for Jen was like to see who she was going to keep on the show.
Yeah, so let me jump into that. So what was happening was I was actually casting Mob Wives Philly. I was casting Mob Wives Chicago, Mob Wives Philly, Mob Wives London, and Mob Wives Australia at the same time.
Okay.
And so I was trying to become a Housewives franchise, and that's what the network wanted. Right at the same time, Mob Wives proper, the girls were renegotiating. And I don't even know if I can get into this. That might be for another podcast, but lo and behold, a couple of them got themselves fired. And Harvey called me and was like, listen, those Philly girls? Get them, because now they're coming to Staten Island. And regardless, I wanted Natalie for Philly. But at this point, I was like, okay, Natalie, you got to come to Staten Island because we got to put you in place of the people that we just lost. So a friend of mine that I knew for years knew Natalie, or Natalie's ex-boyfriend. And he was like, you got to see this girl. She's hot. She's good for TV. So we met in Atlantic City. And I think it was me, him, Renee. There was a couple of guys there, right? I don't remember. Anyway, it was through some guys.
So basically, you found Natalie through word of mouth because she's hot, she's young, she's spicy.
Yes, I found Natalie through a guy that knows a guy that knew Natalie.
I mean, isn't that the way it always goes in this world? I know a guy who knows a guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Natalie, did you have any ties to Alicia and the other Natalie prior to going into Mob Wives? Like, did you know them because you all lived in the same area, or you met in the filming process?
I met Alicia in the filming process, and the girl Natalie, I've never met her at all. Like, never had spoken 2 words to her. It was funny because my ex who got me on the show was the one conversing her and giving her like stuff to talk about on the show. Like, I never met the girl.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Jen, it's funny. We never talked about it. I didn't get the other Natalie part. I didn't understand how she fit in, where she belonged in with the within the show.
Yeah. To her point, the other Natalie was coming to us saying, "Oh, I know Nat G from such and such, and she did this and she did that, and we're friends and we're cool." And so the guys that introduced me to you were also telling me about her, so it seemed legit to me, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, because obviously what we really want when you're producing something is people that actually organically know each other.
Yeah,
so when we first got Nat D, we thought she knew Nat G. It turns out she was a fraud in a way.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Or at least that's how Nat right here feels about it. So tell us.
It was just, I mean, all right. So when I started filming, like, you don't really know what you're getting into when you're jumping into a reality TV show. You really don't.
Yeah.
But like after when I came back for my second season, I kind of understood like how things like worked a little bit, and it's like they're not going to be able to use something that you don't give them. So I'm like, all right, I'm not even gonna pay attention to this bitch. Like, I don't fucking know her. I said it, I don't know how many times on the show. Like, I've never met this girl. I have no idea where she came from, what rock she crawled out of. And I just tried to ignore it the best I could throughout the entire season. And it didn't work.
Well, when someone's nipping at your heels, it's a little hard to ignore. But
That's
yeah, so she
crazy.
convinced us that they knew each other and she knew certain things about her and she knew friends of hers and everything she was telling us made sense. So we were like, all right, this is a great organic connection.
So basically,
And then
she
I had my
used her to be on the
ex-boyfriend
show.
calling me.
What?
I had my ex-boyfriend calling me, like sending me like nasty messages. He's like, "Oh, what are you ratting me out on the show?" and blah blah. I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, like I would fight with him, like, and then he would go back and feed her shit." And I just heard from because Alicia, her brother, is it her brother?
Anthony.
Anthony, yeah, Anthony and my ex were like really good friends. So he was getting stories, she was getting the stories from him and then telling me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is ridiculous. To a point, it was a lot. It was a lot.
All right, well, we'll get there. Let's rewind. I want to know, did you watch the show before you even were considered or came on?
I actually only saw one, was it one episode or like a little bit of a season? It was when Renee's ex, ratted and all that shit came down.
So that was season 2, episode like around 12 through 19.
Yeah. So that was the first time I was introduced to the show. Like, I was talking to some kid and he was like, "Oh, this show's great. Let's watch it." I was like, "All right, let's watch it." And then it was like, I started watching it and I felt for Renee at the time. I didn't know anything about the show. It was my first time seeing it. So basically that episode was the first one that I seen and I felt for her too. And I'm like, I feel close to this girl. I don't even know her. Like, I just felt for her and everything that happened. I don't know if I finished this season, but I did. That was the first time like I ever knew anything of it. And then after that, you heard about it everywhere with the whole FBI and all this and all that.
Got it. So
Yeah.
when you first saw it, were you like, would you ever have considered going on it at that point?
No, because this was like what, a few years later, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like a year?
we approached you two seasons later, but like when you first saw it with that, where you're like, oh shit, this is crazy, because everyone had like opinions, like, you know.
Yeah, and I felt like, for me, just a viewer watching, it just felt like it was like part of my hometown kind of a thing. Like it could happen at any point, anytime, anywhere. And me being living in South Philly, it's like I was surrounded by that all the
Right.
time. So it kind of felt like a little connection towards it. So I never like thought I would be on the show because that wasn't really in my mindset at the time where I was at in my life.
Gotcha.
Was it a difficult decision for you to just overnight put all your personal life out there? What was that like thought process for you? Like, did you think it was going to become what it became? Were you ready to open up?
No, like I said, when you're introduced to something like that and you don't know anything about it. I never watched reality TV ever in my life.
Gotcha.
The only time I ever watched it was the one with Renee, that piece that someone introduced me to the show. I'm very impulsive, so it's like when there's an opportunity, I don't think about other things. I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
So
Let's just go for it.
so you just had tunnel vision and didn't think about what was going to happen. Everyone was going to know your business. You were going to be, become overnight,
No.
just like.
Had no thoughts. Did not even. That wasn't even a thought in my brain.
Wow. So I know you didn't watch much of the show, but coming into the show, like the first day you decided to film, did you think like, all right, I'm going to be really cool with Drita. I'm going to be really cool with Renee. Like, who did you think you were going to mesh with the most
I'm
once you
curious
started
about that
filming?
too.
Well, pretty much Renee, I kind of met her a little bit before we started filming, and me and her like hit it off. Like, I loved Renee. I was like, oh my God, you're the best. In my mind, I'm not necessarily a fighter. I don't pick fights. I am very much quiet until you like believe it or not, I am. Despite what you see on the show, I'm quiet. But I don't like to pick fights. I'm not that type of person. I'm very observant. I like to watch things. my plan wasn't to basically fight with anybody. Like I didn't even know really my role in the show at that point. It was just we were just filming, just constantly filming.
Did
Right.
anybody rub you the wrong way, like off the bat, that you were just like, all right, me and this bitch are never gonna see eye to eye. I don't like her. I don't want to be in scenes with her.
No, I pretty much wanted to come into it like very organic. Like if there was going to be an argument or a fight, like I expect it to be inorganic. But yeah, that's just I try to keep like an open mind about things when I go into things.
Yeah. So for what she's saying is the reason why she met Renee prior to that was because that's how she came into the show.
Correct.
It was a mutual friend of Renee's that brought her in. So it was only natural that she had to meet Renee and blah, blah, blah. So do you think if you didn't meet Renee at that point and you came in blind, would you still have resonated with Renee?
Yeah, 100%. Me and her we hit it off like right away. It's just she's fun. She's fun loving. Like, you're leaving? You want to come say hi?
What?
Come say hi.
Is that London? We can put him on here because he was on the show
Wait.
too.
Here, we put here real quick.
I
You're
can't.
left here. Just
I
say
cannot.
hi.
I
Hello?
cannot. He said I cannot.
I'll play in an hour. I love you.
All right, let me go.
Is that a bulletproof vest?
He's actually going back to New York right now, so
Gotcha.
he's got to go catch a flight. No, when I met Renee, she was like really like fun loving. She was really fun. She was crazy. Like we hit it right off the bat. I mesh well with people that have a really good sense of humor.
Yeah.
That's just who I've always been like that.
Okay, and aside from her, just thinking back before you even got on, from what you saw, who do you think would have been your friend other than Renee?
I would have said possibly Big Ange for sure. Drita, in my mind, I was like, I'm not fighting that bitch. I'm not even like stepping a toe to her. I'm not trying to get my face punched in. But yeah, I think Carla too. Carla, she has like a nice like persona about her. Yeah, I was just going in just like
Open-minded, whatever happens, happens. But when you did come in, go ahead, Rob. You take
Well,
it
I have
from
a
here.
question.
Rob has a lot of questions.
I have a question. 'Cause my memory
here to
today,
look
my memory today
Yeah,
is
ask
shaky.
questions
I'm on
too.
my 7th coffee. She came in season 4, part of the New Blood. Carla and Karen were not on season 4, right?
But I saw them on that episode when they were on the show. Yeah.
Correct. But then you came in, it was Renee, Anne, Drita, Natalie, Alicia.
And that's it.
That was the 5 of them.
Everybody was
They
gone.
were the main anchors of the show. And then we had the Natalie D kind of playing the friend of,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So
But that
He knows more than I do.
season-
You see, that's why he's on here.
Yeah, but Natalie didn't come on until the next season.
she was on
wasn't
season 5.
Yeah.
And then that's when Karen had come back because that's when your feud with Karen started.
Correct.
Okay, so now this question leads me into the fights with Renee and Karen. They were very intense, especially your fight with Renee in Las Vegas. I remember the scene outside of the Drunken Monkey with you and Karen. So now looking
Yeah.
back on the conflicts, do you feel like it went too far? Do you feel like it shouldn't have happened that way? Like, any regrets? Are there any unresolved things that still linger to this day between you and Renee, you and Karen? I know you don't live here no more, but like if you saw them in the street right now, would you say hello? Like,
And let me just say this, Natalie, I want you to be 100% honest. Just because Renee's my sister, you don't have to fucking pull punches.
No. What happened was Renee and I
it's
became
true.
super close, like outside of filming, and I trusted her. I completely I put my trust in her. Like when I'm your friend, like I trust you 100%. Whatever if you do something wrong, like it really it hurts my soul. I don't know how else way to put it. I just feel like completely crossed and completely hurt, and I want to cry. Like it hurts that bad. When we were filming, I think I was waiting to be filmed. I think Alicia filmed something, and Alicia called me up and she was like, "Hey, listen, I don't like what's going on here. It sounds like they're trying to set you up, like you fighting Drita or something with this whole whore comment that you said. Like, she's like, I just don't like how it's going down. So I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just like in the dark here. And she's like, Renee came in, she's like bumping this up and telling Drita this. And so I called Drita and I was like, Drita, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And she's like, I know what they're doing. Don't worry about it. And I forget, I don't remember the exact conversation, but she said something along the lines like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're trying to get me to fight you and blah, 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 blah. Don't worry. When we get to Vegas, we'll settle this up. So, she's like, just don't tell anybody you talk to me. I was like, all right, fine. She's like, she told me, she's like, what we're going to do is you just apologize to me and then that's it. Then we did it. I was like, okay, that's fine. It is what it is. But I felt so like backstabbed from Renee to where when that scene with me getting upset with her, I was really angry. Like I couldn't say what I wanted to say because, I had told Drita that I wouldn't say anything. And then we're also filming and so like me getting upset at her and yelling at her, I was like upset because of that situation. I felt backstabbed. That really like bothered me. But when Renee put her hands on me, like the thought in my mind was like, fuck, I'm on TV. Like I can't have this fucking bitch get one over on me. Like I have to fight back.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's where my mindset was. And then when I did swing and I hit her, I felt so fucking bad. I was like, it was like slow motion in my mind. Like everything like was like slow motion. I felt so bad that I even did that. Like, yeah, it was not fun. But yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, the way you guys produced it in the beginning, you had Natalie come in as like mini Renee. She was the face of Mob Candy. Like you've made it like Natalie was the next in line to take over Renee's spot.
Right.
Okay, let me tell you how this works, okay? So, no, it's true. Okay. I'm going to use Natalie and Renee as an example, and then I'm going to use Karen and Brittany as an example, okay? So, everyone has to come in through someone, right?
Correct.
Natalie organically came in through Renee because it was Renee's friend that introduced us to Natalie, right? Mm-hmm. So, before we start filming, we have to sit down and make sure that Natalie wants to do the show, right? So Natalie's like, yeah, we'll do the show. And Renee's there because that's how we met Natalie. And they organically connected. And then they now start talking. And Renee's like, okay, you'll be my face of Mob Candy because she legit thought Natalie was gorgeous and she was the one. So they start to form this relationship behind the scenes that now when we start filming, it's like, okay, great. This is how we will organically introduce Natalie, right? So that's how she came about. With Brittany and Karen, it was the same situation. We met Brittany because of Karen and Karen's father and her father were friends. So, but with that said, what happens is once the cameras start rolling, things start to take different turns, right? So we just follow the way it naturally happens. So I forgot your question.
Forget my question. I think that now that you explained how Natalie got brought onto the show, she was coming in as Renee's friend.
Right.
Let's get into...
We position her as the mini Renee.
Correct. Let's get into the delicious of it all.
The delicious.
Delicious.
I want you to know that when you made that fucking song Delicious, it was like, I was like, this girl is my idol. That's exactly how I would get it back. Like if somebody like takes something so stupid that I say or do or whatever and like really wants to harp on it, like I will actually now play it to death that like you realize how stupid it is. So what you did, kudos. Yes, I would have been just as petty and did the same fucking shit.
She's not
Love
lying.
that.
She's
to
not
death.
lying.
Love that to death. Love it.
Delicious had set up for Vegas.
Yes.
You know?
Well, it's same thing. Like, okay, so Karen and the Drita thing started with a picture, and Natalie and Renee started with Delicious. And right or wrong?
I want you to know,
So
me and my
stupid.
friends still like literally quote Delicious to this day.
Natalie,
To this
we
day.
talk about Delicious all the time.
Like me and my friends will still be like Delicious, like literally all the time. It's insanity.
And when I want to
I
get
don't-
under
I
Renee's skin, I go,
catch myself-
oh, delicious.
Yeah, we
I
talk to
catch
Renee.
myself sometimes. I'm like, oh,
I want to know.
It's traumatizing.
I want to know. Set the record straight. That day you woke up. You knew you were filming at whatever location. I think you guys were in Manhattan. You were probably in such a good mood. You're going into film. You're showing up for work. You're clocking in. Did you ever think the trajectory of saying delicious about someone's cologne was gonna spark that drama? Like, literally, you guys should have gave Natalie a raise right after that, because had she not said delicious,
Literally.
what the hell would you guys have
What else
that
could have been the
season?
storyline? I can't. Delicious was single-handedly the storyline.
Take me back to that day. Like,
It was.
what the hell did you think?
I don't know. I was just going in. I was having fun. Every time we filmed, I'm sure Jen could tell you too. Every time I filmed, like, I just wanted to have fun. I was just having fun with everything. We got there. I didn't know what to expect. We're drinking. I got a little tipsy. And, you know, when I get tipsy, I get a little loud and I have more fun. I am a lot of fun to hang out with. And then when the guy came wearing the cologne, I was like, oh, you smell delicious. And I just,
Yeah.
that shit sobered up. Fucking Renee was screaming, delicious, delicious. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you at this point? Like, it's a word. Like, I don't want him.
No,
Like,
literally,
I
it's
didn't even
literally like an
understand what
action
was
verb,
going on.
right?
It's an
Yeah, that was
adjective.
that night. I got
Adjective.
upset because, again, when I'm close to somebody, I don't want to hurt their feelings either, and I'm trying not to hurt. Like, I got upset that day after filming. I was upset. I cried. I was like, I feel, what the fuck? What did I do?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I hurt my friend. Like, I got upset. Like, but
Natalie,
then that shit just took
how
over.
old were you when you started filming Mob Wives? You were in like your mid-20s, or?
I think I was like 28.
Okay, yeah. So
28,
young,
29.
but yeah, still an adult.
Crazy.
Maybe. Yeah.
First of all, I'm 20, about to be 29, and I actually can't even single-handedly imagine having to take on the brunt of these women at that age. I would
was
actually
rough.
just, no.
She was
no
the youngest
thanks.
cast member, right, at the time?
Yes, and mind you, behind the scenes, she takes on the brunt of the women.
No, I do. So it's like
Just
it's
by
like-
being my friend.
No, literally. And like, so knowing what you go through actually resonates with me because I feel for you.
This is why I have no
Because
friends.
now you gotta do
Thank
it
you.
in front of everybody on television. And then you want to be respectful because you're like, damn, she could be my mom. I gotta be respectful.
All right, don't go that far with
It's
the
true
mom.
though, because you're like the young hot bitch and you're like, damn, I gotta be nice. But you just want to rip a motherfucker's head off. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
got it.
listen, delicious.
Delicious.
And I have to admit, okay, Renee took it to extremes, but that's who she is, right? You have to look at it from her perspective. And I'm not giving her right, but anyway, she's looking at it, and she's going to be mad at me for saying this, but she's looking at it like, okay, here's hot Natalie saying, my man looks delicious. And she's like, oh, he heard that. And what happens if he... So she just, in her mind, right? And I kind of get it in a weird, sick way, was like, don't say that because you're tempting my man, right? And in a way, right? So that's why she went so crazy. It actually, and I feel bad, sorry, Renee, but it stems from a little bit of insecurity, right?
I was gonna say, is she
I
just
get-
was she just triggered because Natalie could have took her man at the time?
Yeah,
Like,
it
what?
stems from
What
a
the
little
hell
bit
was
of
it?
insecurity. And she, yes. And that's all it was. But she didn't, I know, Renee, she didn't really mean that against you as a total act of war. She was being, what's that word? Protective of her, whatever it was. So
I get it.
it is what it is. Did she go too far? Yes. And then Delicious just sparked another war again.
Craziness. It's just
No,
so
I get it.
funny.
I get it. And it's a lot of things you don't realize too. Like me being the youngest, like I'm surrounded by older women. So they have many more years of knowledge and just dealing with people and understanding people. So it's like now that I'm older, like, all right, I get it. But at the time too, I was so young and so naive, and I'm just like, whatever. I'm like, I didn't see anything wrong with anything that I
Now,
did.
there was literally nothing
no,
wrong
but
with
there
it.
was nothing wrong with what you did.
Not at all. I'm just telling you what she perceived it as. There was nothing wrong. You
Yeah.
just said, oh my God, you smell so good. And I do that a lot to a lot of people. Now I learned, though, after you did it, never to do it when their girlfriend's around.
Listen,
Yeah.
hindsight 2020. If this happened right now, Renee's dating someone. We're
Same
out.
exact thing is
And another
happening.
young hot bitch came and said,
Same exact
"Wow,
thing is happening.
that Creed Aventus is delicious."
It
Is
is.
Renee
That's my
acting the
favorite.
same way?
Yes.
First of all, I got news for you. Renee was talking to somebody, okay? They were
Oh,
like
God.
dating. And the fact that he even followed me, she felt some type of way
Right,
about.
leave
I
the
had to
poor
block
girl
him.
alone,
So if there's a man that involves Renee Graziano, I know I shouldn't even know how to say his first name. Like, I shouldn't even know that.
all right, enough.
That's just Renee, the way Renee is, though, when it comes to her men.
She's very
Period.
territorial.
With her men,
100%.
that's the way that she is. It's a Renee thing. It's
I
It's a
get that.
Renee thing, and it's a lot of other women thing too. Renee's
Yeah,
just
I
not
guess.
embarrassed to fucking say it. A lot of women feel it. Renee will just be like, "All right, bitch, shut up. Don't call my man delicious. Don't fucking know his first name." And that's it. Some people will think it. Renee will just say it.
Yeah.
And it backfires in her face
Don't
all the
even
time.
breathe when you're around my man. How about that?
I get it. I get
You mean
it.
that,
Yeah,
or you mean that
it's
for
fun.
Renee's
No,
perspective?
I'm being sarcastic. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey everyone, before we dive into today's show, I want to take just a moment. Think about someone in your life that you're thankful for. Really let that feeling of gratitude sink in. Whether it's a family member, a friend, or someone who's always been there for you.
It's easy to get caught up in the craziness of life, but when you stop and think about it, there's always that one person who makes all the difference. This month, we're focusing on gratitude, being thankful for the things and the people who truly impact our lives.
Exactly. And with everything going on, we sometimes forget to pause and appreciate the things that keep us going. One thing we don't talk about enough is therapy. It's something that's personally helped us so much, and we're grateful for how it's guided us through tough times and made the good moments even better.
We don't talk enough about it, but honestly, therapy has been such a game changer for me. It's helped me unpack what weighs me down, making room to see and truly feel those moments of joy even more.
Therapy gives you that space to work through the tough stuff and, in the process, makes you even more grateful for everything and everyone in your life. Whether you've got that special someone you're thankful for or not, we all need a little extra support sometimes.
With BetterHelp, I've been able to face the hard stuff and come out feeling more grateful and grounded. It's been so convenient, too, completely online, so it fits right into my schedule. You just fill out a quick questionnaire, get matched with the licensed therapist, and if the first one isn't quite right, you can switch at any time for no extra cost.
It's really that simple. Therapy isn't just for when life gets tough. It's about helping you grow and giving you the tools to be your best self. Whether it's setting boundaries, learning coping skills, or just having someone to listen, BetterHelp has you covered.
So, take a moment to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/SO today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/SO. Take that step and give yourself the support you deserve.
Hey guys, Jennifer Graziano here, and I have to share my honest obsession with OneSkin. Trust me, I've tried every product under the sun, and OneSkin truly stands out. I didn't just dab it on and hope for the best. I've been using it on my face, neck, and hands, and let me tell you, this is not your typical skincare. This is like giving my skin a fresh start. So here's the scoop. I started with the face and eye products. I've been noticing those little fine lines creeping in around my eyes, and my skin just felt a little bit tired. Actually, a lot of bit tired. But after using OneSkin, within days, I could feel the difference. My skin just felt softer, smoother, and I dare say, younger. And I didn't stop there. I started using it on my neck, my chest, even my hands, and let me tell you, it's like my skin came alive again. OneSkin isn't just a surface fix. It's backed by science and actually tackles aging at the root. Think about reducing senescent cells and targeting the skin at the molecular level, which is why it works so deeply. I mean, this is serious skincare. It's like giving my skin a second chance. And Lord knows, we all can use a second chance. If you're ready to give your skin that kind of love, then I suggest OneSkin, the world's first skin longevity company. OneSkin addresses skin health at the molecular level, targeting the root causes of aging so skin behaves, feels, and appears younger. It's time to get started with your new face, eye, and body routine at a discounted rate today. And guess what? We got an offer for you. Get 15% off with the code MOBWIVES at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MOBWIVES. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. We only have one body, one skin, and only you can choose to make it better. Age healthy with OneSkin.
Natalie, do you keep in touch with anyone from the show currently, or you just have put this behind you?
I haven't. The only person I talk to is Renee.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, so
After
we'll
all
call it-
that.
Say.
So we'll call each other. I'll check on her. She'll check on me. If I hear anything like online about her, like I call her right away. Like, hey, are you okay? Like, what the fuck happened? You know, I'm always checking on her.
See the way life comes full circle.
I love Renee.
I'm
I'm
went
still
from clotheslining you in Vegas.
even though all that shit happened, like I never hated her. You know, I never had that, like, I'm never talking to her again. Like, I never had that. Like, I still feel like I have a connection with Renee from the first connection I had with her. Like, it's still there. Like, so it didn't, what we did in film, like, it didn't take anything away from that. Like, I just was like upset. I was mad. Then I got over it and I understood, like, I understand how she is. I understood like the shit she's been through. You know, I mean, I don't want people to ever like not talk to me because I did something wrong. Like we talked about it, you know, her feelings. I guess she still loves me. She still calls me. I still call her. I love her
What
too.
sign are you?
But, huh?
What sign are you?
I'm Sag Capricorn on the cusp.
Interesting.
Oh, well, I'm a Sagittarius.
Are
I'm
you?
only asking because
When's your
only
birthday?
certain signs get over
December
shit.
6th, but you're the end.
Yeah, 22nd.
Wow, wow, wow. Real recognize real.
Oh, God.
You know what it is? I feel like with you and Renee, it was so blown out of proportion, obviously heightened because you were filming a show, but like it's speaking to your character that like
Exactly.
you knew how to separate the two. Like you knew how to separate TV life from like real life, and you're not like this petty, slighted, jaded girl that's like, all right, I was on the show and I just fucking hate the bitch now. Like you see the way you're speaking about
No.
her? I respect that.
Yeah, because it's like also too like when you're on TV, like you're entering into something uncharted basically for yourself, and it's like you know you're putting on a show, like you have to put on a show
Exactly.
for the show. So it's like after like my second season, like I kind of like understood it more because I was so into the last season and I seen everything that went down that I kind of understood it more going back into it. And it's just a learning experience. And it's like we all know like, hey, you know, what's for the show, what's not for the show. And, you know, it's just putting it to the side. Like it's work at the end of the day. Once you get past your first season and it's like you feel like everyone's really attacking you, like everyone has already been filming. Like they already know like what they're doing, what they're getting into. I'm brand new. Like I don't know what the fuck is going on. All I know is I feel like everyone's attacking me, and it was hard. It was really hard in the first season for me.
So to that point, you're saying everyone knows what's for the show is for the show, but do you feel that Renee was not doing it for the show? Those were her real feelings.
No, her real feelings are valid for sure because Renee's just like me. Like if I'm upset, like I'm upset. Like I don't give a fuck if there's 6 cameras in front of my face. Like I'm upset. Like we've seen it. We've physically seen it. Like I know that everything, and I know I know she goes home after filming crying too. Like if it's a tough scene, like I know that about her. So it's like she puts her all in because she is authentic. She is who she is. You know, and I feel like, you know, I'm authentic too, putting in what it is as well. But her and I share something similar. Like we're both sensitive people. We have this bark, but deep inside we really are sensitive. Like, and I think I connected more with her because I just felt that with her of who she really was.
Got it. And I what to Rob's point, it is. I like the fact that you're able to separate that, even though she acted like an animal to me on TV. I understand why, and I know that the cameras are shining in her face, and I know that she really feels this way. And I believe that you two really did have like a certain bond that transcended TV, although when it was happening, it was 100% real, and you both wanted to kill each other.
Yeah, pretty much. I did feel bad, like right away. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right, well, what am I going to do now?
Natalie, were you happy with the way you were portrayed on the show? Do you feel like anything went down that you're not happy with the way it was shown? Anything you want to clear up? How do you feel now looking back on it so many years later?
I feel like for me, I feel like what was shown was only like the crazy side to me. Like nothing really that whole substance to me was shown. You know, yes, I can be a pit bull. I can scream and yell and do all that crazy shit, but really, I am such a nice person. So I feel like only one side was always shown to me, which wasn't good either. Because
Yeah.
even when I was out on the streets, like people would try to grab me, and you know, it was a lot, and I didn't take good with that. There was a time where I almost turned into a recluse. I wasn't leaving the house. Like I couldn't leave. Like I remember I went to space one night. I think was this the first? I think it was our first season. And I think the episodes were already airing. And when I was out with London and my girlfriend, and we went to space, I remember starting to get a panic attack because I saw people like looking at me and staring at me, and I started to like, I don't even know how to explain it.
You were
It was like a
probably
legit
wondering what they were thinking about you.
It was a legit panic attack. I got so paranoid that I was like starting to hyperventilate a little bit. And all I remember was London saying, "Hey, let's go downstairs." So I was like, okay. And I followed him, holding his hand, going downstairs. The club, when I tell you it was jam-packed, you couldn't even move. It was packed. We go down the steps. I saw exit. He went this way, and I ran straight out the fucking door. It was perfect timing, too, because that cab pulled up. I ran straight down the alleyway. I saw this fucking cab pull up. I opened up the door. I fucking jumped in. 2 seconds later, London sliding in from me, and I went like this, like I could breathe. Like it was bad. It was bad for a little bit, and no one saw that side of me because I always kept it to myself because I don't ever let people show like my weaknesses with shit. I keep it to myself, which is not good either. But yeah, that was fun. I had to get over that.
That's crazy.
So to young people that want to like break out in reality TV, like what's one piece of advice you would give them after you've experienced such, coming into such a big show at the time? Any advice you'd give to someone who wants to be on reality TV?
I don't even know because I guess it all depends on the person. It's hard. Like you have no privacy. The worst part of it, I think was basically the social media because no one really understands that if you're not on television and you don't understand, it's when you see these flood of negative comments. You have good and bad, but normally the bad always sticks out. And you go bad, 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 and all you read is the bad, bad, bad. You feel like the whole world is against you. So if you don't have thick skin for that, like that can kind of like take you down. That can cause major depression.
You felt like you had more negative comments than good, and
that's all I've seen.
Really?
And then here's London. He's like, babe, this is great. Holy shit. He's like, I hate you, and half the people that love you. This is fucking perfect. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah, for me, it wasn't good. I guess he was loving it. He was loving it. He was reading everything. I'm reading them. I'm like crying. I can't get out of bed. He's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? What's wrong with me? He's like, they're just words. I'm like, that just felt like when I tell you the whole world, you get consumed. It just feels like the whole world's on you. It's bad. But I've learned to like not read any comments. I don't engage anymore. I don't read shit. So
I'll tell you this. I would have never imagined that any of that affected you. You came to set like nothing was wrong ever. You never verbalized any of that. You took that shit seriously.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, why didn't you tell us that it was too much?
Who the fuck knows when something's too much? Like, I don't know. My whole life has always been like, I'm not saying like drama, but it's like, when you come from a city, like I come from a fucking funeral home. How do I know what's too much? I have no idea.
So we're not, that was a funny reaction. We're not laughing at that. Which is part
It's
of the
true.
reason why she was brought to me. They're like, she buries all the mob guys. I'm like, oh, okay.
Is your family still involved in the funeral business?
Her grandpa died.
I had the opportunity to take over the business. It's just when Big Ange passed away, right after that, my grandmother went 6 months later. 4 weeks later, my dad dies. I had a spew of deaths from 2016 up until last year, actually. It's just been one after the other, dying. And my grandpa, he passed away in 2022, I want to say it was. There was like a legal thing that happened. Like my grandpa was going through a divorce at the age he was.
I was going to say, at like 80 something.
Yeah, he should have divorced her years ago. But when I started, because I started in the company in 2010 and just moved up the ladder like really quick with my grandpa. He started like, first it was just put my mail over there. And then it was like, can you fill out this death certificate? To the next one was like, this is my granddaughter. She's taking over my funeral home. So before I came on Mob Wives, I was actually in mortuary school. So I put that to the side to film. But yeah, when we were going through a divorce, my dad had the power of attorney. He was the power of attorney, my grandfather. When my dad died and we went over the power of attorney, he didn't have a secondary put up. So since that happened, and since the divorce, we had to go to orphans court. You know, my mom was stepping in, and then the ex-wife was like, "That's my husband." Meanwhile, she was estranged from him for like 15 years. Wasn't even involved in the business, wasn't even living there. It just got to a point where the court was like, nope, we have to sign an estate attorney. He just fucked everything up. He didn't care. So we had to sell our funeral home as a part of the divorce. I moved the funeral home to another funeral home and was held up shop there. And for me, I just couldn't do what I wanted to do for the company at that point. And the power of attorney was still, you know, he was an asshole. He should lose his job. But anyway, long story short, I after my grandpa died, I just decided to close it and just try to really figure out my life after that. Because when you lose a parent, you have to like grow up instantly.
Yeah.
Like you're no more little girl, even though you have a kid and a husband and everything that you can have. As soon as that parent goes, it's like, you got to grow up.
Yeah.
There's like a part of you that hit adulthood 10 times faster, even though you are an adult. So that's pretty much what happened with me with all that. And I just had to figure out my life. Like, what am I going to do now? Like I had shit lined up for me and life hits you, pulls the rug out from under you, and then you got to come up with what else you're going to do. So I had to start over, not once, but twice. And yeah, I'm still kind of there. I'm better than I was 5-6 years ago. Because it's still like you have to figure out what you're going to do with yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, God
That
doesn't
was
give
rough.
nothing that you can't handle. So,
Period.
and I'm so sorry about your
Thank
grandpa,
you.
your dad, and I hope things.
My mom passed away last year.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I'm
No.
so sorry.
And she passed away on London's birthday. How about that was crazy. So
That is crazy.
his birthday went up. Yeah. My mom's like, oh, there you go. Thanks, Mom.
Oh my,
Oh my
God.
God.
Yeah, it's bad. But it is what it is. What are you going to do? But I came to the realization, like, I wanted to, right after my dad died and I was taking over the funeral home, it was this, when the families would come in, when they lost their loved ones, it's like, it hit different
Yeah.
when they
Yeah.
would come at that point. And I just got to a point where it's like, I don't want to deal with death anymore.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
death has been a part of my life for so long. Like I have to get out of it. I just want to live. And that's basically has been my goal, just to like live. I do miss the funeral home, don't get me wrong. It was fun. I mean, it was haunted. Like it was some crazy shit that happened. But you know, I do miss it because that at the end of the day, that's home for me,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, but wait 1 second. I also just have to bring this up because I was thinking about it before when we were talking about how you were young and hot on the show. Another moment that literally was so me-coded and fucking iconic for you was when you showed up to that sit down with that fucking onesie on down to here and your tits out. I said, oh my God, that is, I'm like, if we're gonna piss him off, I'm gonna really piss him off. And now I'm gonna show out with my fake ass, perky ass titties right out for all of y'all to hate on. And I'm gonna be gorgeous and hot as fuck. And now we can have a sit down. So I loved it. It was like iconic, actually.
All right, so tell us about that then.
Yeah. Did you like show up just to be hot? Or did you were like, you knew you were gonna throw down?
No, I showed up just to be hot.
Period. That's great. I would have done the same thing. I would have showed up just to be hot. Cause now if I'm gonna make y'all mad, I'm gonna make you mad. Period.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. Showed up hot, you know, especially
left
when I
hot.
filmed too.
You left hot too.
I always just, what'd you say?
I know you left hot.
I said
too.
you left hot too. So
And even though you guys threw down, you didn't lose a titty.
I know, it's a tape.
I was so impressed with that. I think I was like, wow, this is not like Girls Gone Wild. She did not lose a titty. I am impressed. Party trick. That's a fucking party trick. I loved it.
Yeah, that day was crazy too. They were all crazy. Everybody went fucking bonkers. I'm
Like, all them bitches is nuts.
like, what the fuck?
all right, so talk to me about Drunken Monkey, you and Karen, first night.
Look at these whores. These whores. Is that your word tonight? It's my word. Very nice. You smell delicious.
Did I just hear Natalie correctly? What did you say?
I said delicious.
Oh my God.
All right, so talk to us.
Fun times.
First of all, this is what happens when you mix young people with slightly older people, because like we will say whore, you're a bitch, you're a slut, you're this, that. We don't mean no harm by that. That's actually like a term of endearment.
No, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that, being the older one in the room.
Yeah.
I get that, 100%.
Now, had you said that this is a bunch of hoes, it would have been a different story.
They might have understood what she was saying a little better than in Staten Island talk.
I still call everyone a whore. I call everyone a whore.
She's 1,000 years old. You have no idea, but she's literally 1,000 years old.
I say all that shit. No, but that was so funny. That was just like so, like, it was crazy how they like took it so
Personally.
yeah.
Literal?
Like, what? I would have been like, yo, I fucking quit.
Well,
I'm done.
let me tell you what would have
Y'all
happened.
suck. I would have been like, you all suck. I'm going home.
Here's what would have happened had you not said delicious, right? Because if you watch that clip,
Had she not said delicious, there would have been no season.
Literally
yes,
nothing.
but
And Vegas would have been anticlimactic.
yes, and no. But if you watch that clip, when she was saying whore, Ange was listening, Drita was listening, Renee was listening. I wonder, had you not switched it to delicious, if one of them would have picked up and rolled with the whore thing, is what I'm trying to say.
Probably.
Probably, yeah. Because they didn't like that. I could see it in their faces, but whatever. And I get what you are all saying. I would have been like, that's right. But it wasn't serious. Who would actually be in someone's face that they don't even know and be like, whore? Unless you knew something personal about them, you would have to think it was a joke. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
Drita did go over to her in the scene and was like, what did she say? Like, what
That's
are you saying?
my point. Exactly. So she was equally as angry with the whore thing, but lucky for Drita, you flipped it to delicious and Renee took over. I was like, so Drita didn't even have to get into the whore thing with you.
Well,
I
considering
totally
delicious.
I forgot I even said that.
Me too.
Like that many times though, like that's drunk Natalie.
Yeah, I understand.
Considering delicious led to the Vegas SmackDown, can we please roll a Vegas clip real quick?
I tried to apologize to Renee 3 times about this delicious comment, and what did she do? She ran the away.
You ran the out, and I tried to talk to you.
So I was on a plane. I can never forget. And you know when you're landing and you get those texts when you're literally on your way down, and then your whole slew of text messages all come up at once. So I get Renee and Natalie killing each other. Renee and Natalie fight.
You
What
weren't
the
there
fuck?
at the scene?
I was on a plane. My plane was delayed. I was supposed to be at the scene.
Oh, so you were flying down to Vegas
I was
to go.
flying
Wow.
to Vegas. Renee and Natalie fight. So I when I landed, I wrote back quarantine. Put them in separate rooms, like literally. And they were in separate rooms. I didn't know that this happened. Then there was a second altercation when I got there, and they were going at it again. And Renee reached around one of our producers' head and pulled her hair, thinking it was Natalie's hair, which was terrible because I love that producer. And then
Did that producer quit after she
no,
got her
she,
hair pulled?
no, she's down as fuck. She loved us too, and she understood. She was like, "All right, Renee," but it was wrong. It was wrong, right?
crazy.
And it was 100% a mistake because Renee loved her too. We all did, regardless. So I go in the other room, and Renee was, "I gotta go and talk. I gotta go and talk." I kid you not. I literally sat on Renee for 2 hours to keep her down because it was such a debacle and so uncalled for. But at the same time, I get what she was trying to get across, and I totally get what you were trying to get across. And this is terrible because, like, I don't want to say who's right and wrong, but I know who's right and wrong, right? So you were both right, but you were more right, okay? Because in your defense, it was like, I apologize. I know you didn't mean it. Like, oh, you smell delicious. Like, but where we come from, right? We would think twice before, and you come from there too, but we would think twice before we said that to someone's man while their woman was there, right? So Renee took that as like the ultimate disrespect. This ain't my friend. How could she tell my man he's delicious while I'm sitting right there? That's like a come on, or that was such an old lady word. That's like a flirt or whatever, right? So in her mind, she's questioning the friendship. In your mind, you're like, what the fuck? I just fucking said he smelled good. And I get that too, right? So she carried that on. And then in that scene.
Do you think Renee would have been more felt disrespected if Natalie was like, your man smells like shit?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, what if she turned around and
Equally.
said,
What the fuck did she want to say?
Equally as disrespected. In Renee's mind, you should not comment on the man. And it's and that is extreme.
And that brings you back. You can't mix. What is Natalie? What are you? You're a millennial?
Yeah.
You can't mix millennials with the baby boomers or whatever the hell you people are
baby
called.
boomer. She's
I don't
baby
know.
boomer.
What are you guys called?
I ain't fucking
What are you
in Renee's
called?
category. I'm called a child. Baby boomer.
No, but-
boomers.
You know what
My
you know what I
mother's
mean.
a boomer, you
I don't
nut.
think so.
Ask my mother. Call her right now. She's
Not a boomer. She's an icon.
My mother, yes, she's an icon
That's all
boomer.
she'll ever be.
She's an icon boomer. I am not a boomer.
I think you're a boomer.
I will fucking boom you all over this house if I'm a boomer.
Natalie, everything you've been through on the show,
She's a fossil.
on and off camera. Oh my God, you had to stop. Natalie, everything you've been.
You started it.
Did somebody say boomer?
Did someone say delicious?
Yeah, I will fucking pull a Renee on both of you when you call me a boomer again.
All right, listen, we're gonna have to fact check that, but like Natalie's, like, me and Natalie are both millennials, so it's like, you know, anything below a millennial, you're a boomer. Sorry.
Word. Yeah, word.
Natalie, everything you've been through on and off the show. Tomorrow, Jennifer wakes up. She's like, listen, I got the call. VH1's rebooting Mob Wives. They want you on. Are you coming back to Mob Wives? Are you coming back to reality TV? Or are you so far removed and traumatized by the experience that you're absolutely saying no?
No, I would go back on for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would go back on. Yeah, because
Shit.
I went through, you know, I had to go through my own shit because when you go through like traumatizing experiences too, I already had my own trauma before that. So it's like, that's why they say too, like like people who have trauma, like kind of bring more of that into their lives until that part of their life is like healed kind of a thing. So like it was good for me because it helped, even though it helped me become a stronger person because I re-examined my life and who I was and what I really wanted. And I had to figure out like, you know, like what's wrong with me? Why do I get so hyper in situations like this? So it took me to get like a deep dive into like really what was going on with me. You know, from when I was little, they always told me I got diagnosed with ADHD. I never believed it until then I got like older. Within the past like couple years, when my mom was really sick and, you know, I was going through problems with London and I was trying to get myself together. So I started my own counseling, my own therapy, trying to figure out stuff. I got reevaluated again for ADHD. I started taking medication for it, which actually really helped me. And now that I know, you know, what I have, and even though I already knew, but I was like in denial, like, that's not me. I'm perfect. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I learned how to like cope better with things. So for me, I feel like I'm more like headstrong so that I could be able to do, you know, another season.
Right. I respect your self-reflection for sure.
She's like, I got new ways that I want to fucking piss people off now, so I'm going to go back.
But Renee was diagnosed with the same thing. No wonder why you guys get along. You understand each other. But I honestly, before you go on, because I know you have 1,000 questions, I do want to go back to that one scene because I want to straighten it out. That's what we're here to do, right? So you saying, Renee, you could say that, but you were just out to dinner with her husband, which is true. She was out to dinner with her husband, but Renee wasn't the reason they were out to dinner, right? So in Renee's mind, it's like, the whole world's going to think I'm the reason why Alicia's mad at me because of the husband. It was someone else. So
yeah,
while the cameras are playing, the problem is everyone's trying to prove themselves to the real reality of what's happening and knowing that the cameras aren't going to show everything they're saying. So in Renee's mind, right? And I'm speculating. I don't know if this was in Renee's mind, but this would be in my mind. It would be like, oh shit, she just blamed me for being with Alicia's husband, but it really wasn't me. So now I got to go harder to prove that it wasn't me. So you know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what happens when you're filming, because shit happens and you're like, fuck. Like her like attacking me, like her like physically attacking me, it's like that went through my mind. Fuck, I'm on the television. I gotta fight back. Like I'm gonna look like an asshole
if I don't.
So it's like,
so I'm gonna say whatever I gotta say to fucking look right and make her wrong. And I get that. And that's as a producer, that's great for TV, right? But as a friend who's watching this, it's like, this is fucked up. Like everybody's like lying, not lying, but they're saying the truth, but the whole truth is never going to be aired. So the whole audience is watching something and making their own judgments on something that they don't even have the full story on. Correct. And so I think that that's what makes reality TV great, but like psychotic at the same time. To be continued on next week's episode.